You're listening to a Comics XF podcast.
Matt Laswitz, and welcome to this week's episode of Bat Chat with Matt and Will, a Batman ranking podcast, where each week my co-host Will Nevin and I dig into 3 Batman stories, discuss them, and rank them on the big board, thus creating a giant list of Batman stories from best to worst. Will, how's it going tonight?
Hey, I'm proud to report that I am, I would say 100% recovered from the shingles. Never got too bad.
Huzzah!
Haven't had any strange itches in at least like a day. So we're gonna say that we're done with that. Talking off air, I get the sense that we're gonna spend a good bit of this discussion talking about one movie trailer. I want to add another one.
Okay.
There's far less there to talk about. Deep Water.
Yes.
I feel bad for basically everyone involved, but 2 people specifically, Ben Kingsley and Aaron Eckhart. Ben Kingsley should not be in the glorified cameo stage of his career.
No. Ben Kingsley is a venerable actor. He should be doing venerable actor parts at this point.
But I guess he doesn't want to.
I suppose not. I mean, I'm sure he could. Maybe he views this as his in to get his own taken. This is the start.
Just from the feel of the trailer, that man's going to eat or drown or something's going to happen to him in like the first 10 minutes, which was not quite a problem with Henry Winkler and Normal, but I feel like that could have been more than just a cameo. But hey, you take the part, you take the paycheck, and it buys you Michael Caine's house from Jaws, whatever he did there.
4.
That was unfortunate. 4. But that's depressing for Ben Kingsley. It's depressing for Aaron Eckhart because his career has gone nowhere in 20 years.
Yeah, I don't know. There was that moment where it felt like he was gonna be somebody around, Thank You for Smoking and The Dark Knight, and then nothing.
I mean, and that was literally 20 years ago. And just nothing.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his career, right? I mean, you get Thank You for Smoking, which hasn't been huge, but is something that was a hit at its time. And then The Black Dahlia with Brian De Palma, and then The Dark Knight, and then after that, it felt like he tried with things like, Olympus Has Fallen and I, Frankenstein, those Fallen movies, and I, Frankenstein, and then it just didn't work, and he just didn't quite know what to do. It's a shame.
This is why you get a better agent.
That probably would be helpful.
So that's Deep Water out of the way. I don't even think I could muster up like this is gonna be bad, let me go see it kind of watch. I'm embarrassed for everyone, and I don't want to.
It strikes me as relentlessly mid.
Yeah, I mean, at least something like The Meg was over the top nonsense.
Yes, this does not strike me as that. This strikes me as us trying to do a serious action movie that is going to be very meh. But I sent you a trailer to watch because I was looking at the movies coming out this week, and there's not a lot coming out this week. It really feels like The Devil Wears Prada 2 is the big release of the week, and
if not that, Michael Hangover.
Right. $97 million in 1 week. How the frack, man?
People are going to like the things that they're going to like.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether they should like them or not.
I'm excited to see Hokum this week. Good old creepy Irish horror movie. Great. But the other movie coming out this week that I had forgotten, because I saw a trailer for it at one point, and I'm fairly certain I'd repressed it because it is mind-boggling. And I saw it was coming out this week, and I'm like, okay, I need to send Will this trailer because I need someone to see this as well, is the new animated adaptation of Animal Farm. And I use the phrase adaptation as loosely as I possibly can because this thing strikes me as making Emerald Fennell's Wuthering Heights look like Kenneth Branagh's unabridged Hamlet in how accurate to the book it is going to be.
That was a Dennis Millerian sort of the bit you had there. That was good work.
Thank you. But what is this thing?
It feels very weird and disconcerting, especially as the trailer concludes with suggested for ages 11 and up. The tone is very much Pixar 5, 6, 7, 8 year olds, but they're clearly trying to do at least some of the themes and ideas from Animal Farm. They have added some corporate spooky big bad in addition to Napoleon.
It seems broad and goofy, and I don't understand what you're trying to do here.
Pigs drive fast cars.
And how you got this cast. I mean, I guess Andy Serkis directing doesn't hurt, but I don't know how they got Andy Serkis to direct it. But Andy Serkis, Seth Rogen as Napoleon, a tonal mismatch that I cannot wrap my head around. Jim Parsons, Woody Harrelson, Iman Vellani, Gaten Matarazzo, Kathleen Turner, Laverne Cox, Kieran Culkin, and as the human villain lady, Glenn Close. How do you get that cast for this?
Green, foldy, spendy money.
Yeah, I guess Angel Studios is just able to parlay that Sound of Freedom money into this. Freaking insane, man. And I'm not averse to a weird, celebrity-packed, quirky, farm-based movie. Next week, I'm bringing my mom to see Sheep Detectives for Mother's Day. But that's not trying to be Animal Farm. An important work for the world we live in right now. It's about the rise of fascism.
Okay. But does Sheep Detective have songs?
I don't think so. Does this have songs?
According to the reviews, it does.
Oh, hell's bells, man. So yeah, let's just say hi to our guest because oh god. So let's say hi to Patreon backer, friend of the show, John Wickham. How you doing, John?
Hey. Remember, this episode is all Will's fault. Will chose the comics involved. This is all on him. He really wanted to read the comics we are reading tonight.
But it could be worse. We could have had to sit through Animal Farm too. So I'll take it. What are you looking at, Will? I've got a sense that you're...
I was just reading up on Angel Studios. Weird Mormon production outfit. How they got any of those people for this dumb movie, which is they are designed to do family-friendly content, and why you would do Animal Farm in that style is beyond me when you could just write up your own dumb schlock movie that you could push on to people.
They did that. It's called Sound of Freedom.
And I think from what I gather, this might not have been their project to begin with. Like Andy Serkis was shopping it around, or someone was shopping it around. I don't think it was Andy Serkis.
And why would Andy Serkis do this?
I don't know. Again,
it was a package deal from when he did Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
He really wants to direct, and it's not working out for you so far, Andy. But hey, that is a nightmare for everyone to go and look at the trailer to this Animal Farm, because I doubt anyone is going to go and actually see the movie on the big screen this week or ever.
Yeah, they got to save that money for other Angel Studios productions like Young Washington, The Brink of War, Drummer Boy, Hershey, Zero AD.
Oh, and Hershey is exactly what you think it is. It's a biopic about the Hershey people.
Oh.
And they're long-running TV series that is on I believe, the CW, The Chosen.
Oh, yeah, that thing. They do cinematic releases of that, and they wind up in the top 5 for the week.
Culture's weird and bad, and I don't like it.
It is.
People want super sexy Jesus.
Rock me, rock me, rock me, sexy Jesus, all night long. Go see Hamlet 2, everyone. It is delightful. But you know what else is weird and bad? Some of this week's comics.
I was going to say the amount of comics creators that have died this week.
That too. Rest in peace to Jerry Conway and Len Straczewski.
Okay, I'm still on AGL Studios Wikipedia page. They're producing an animated show called Kung Fu Sock.
No, I'd rather not. I think I'm good on that front. But hey, we do have we have comics to discuss, because this week, last time, for those of you who have been listening to us for a while, John played a little Riddler-like game with Will, and Will wound up picking a theme, and so because of that, we are reading 3 stories with art by Liam Sharp.
And who is Liam Sharp, Matthew?
Liam Sharp is a UK creator, Irish artist who, he's been working in comics for a very long time. Probably best known for drawing big barbarian guys. Very nice chap. Dan and I interviewed him on the CXF interview podcast when he started his recent Spawn the Dark Ages miniseries, which he is writing and drawing.
Maybe not best known for his Lanterns work, but that's been prominent.
Yes, working with Grant Morrison, he's done a lot of Spawn stuff over the years. Did a not inconsiderable chunk, couple years on Incredible Hulk with Peter David. He has done various creator-owned books. He has a sci-fi fantasy book that the second volume of which will be coming out from Image in the not too distant future.
Wikipedia tells me he did design work for stuff like Lost in Space, Small Soldiers, and character design for Batman Beyond.
Was the artist on Greg Rucka's Wonder Woman Rebirth, on the present segments when Nicola Scott was doing the flashbacks.
That's going to be important for later.
A lot of work. Just one of those guys who has been a journeyman. Lots, and also something to refer to later, did a lot of Dredd. A lot of Judge Dredd. But
those UK types love their Dredd.
He was doing stuff in 2000 AD in the 80s and is still working regularly today.
For as much as we will have to say about the books tonight, I will say I think we have a good, maybe not necessarily the fullness of his career, but we have different ways in which he contributed. Like we have his own written, drawn miniseries, and then we have a small contribution he has to an anthology, and then we have something where he just did the art. So, like I said, it's not a full range of his career, but it's a nice range of different contributions.
The first story of the night is The Princess and the Knight. This is The Brave and the Bold, Batman and Wonder Woman numbers 1 to 6. Story and art here is by Liam Sharp, with colors by Romulo Fajardo Jr., letters by Troy Pateri, and edited by Brian Cunningham, Rob Levin, Mike Cotton, and Jessica Chen. The cover dates are April to September of 2018. Trouble is brewing in the land of the fairy folk, Ter Nanog. Wonder Woman was summoned to broker peace between the Dodonan and the Fomor, the two principal races of the fair folk. But when the king of the Fomor is found dead, she seeks the aid of an investigator, Batman, to determine who killed him.
I have a very provocative question to start, Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a Batman book?
Yes, because his name's on the cover.
It is a Wonder Woman comic with Batman as a guest star more than a Batman comic.
Could we scratch out Batman in the script and write in perhaps another character?
No, because otherwise, how could it be talked about on this podcast? Like 10 years later.
Or Cell. Batman is not integral to the story, other than, I suppose, because of the Gotham setting. But again, it could be Hub City and the Question. It could be
That would've been
Opal
fun.
City and Elongated Man. It could be
Central City and the Flash.
It could be Gotham City and it could be Slam Bradley. I actually would have gotten kind of a kick out of Slam Bradley and the Fair Folk.
Detective Chimp would have been amazing.
Detective Chimp would have been amazing.
That's not what I thought you were going to start off with. I thought you were going to start off with your favorite complaint.
Oh, the lettering?
Yeah.
Ah, man. Yeah, fuck me. That was painful from start to finish.
The narration boxes with the filigree on the lettering is quite distinct.
Obnoxious?
Obnoxious works too.
I'll say this. If you have a story and you got, let's say, Odin popping in every once in a while, give him the fancy, whatever you call that, right? Give him the fancy script. When it's, for lack of a better descriptor, gods talking constantly from page to page, maybe they don't all need the fancy script.
Well, there were different fancy scripts that were hard to read.
My biggest quibble with this is it is very overwritten.
Oh, Matthew, if I had a nickel for every time we talked about either in the column or on the show, if for a nickel for every time we talked about an artist writer who didn't quite get the hang of the writer business, I would have a fucking pile of nickels. Maybe not like a Scrooge McDuck pile of nickels, but I would be some walking around clankety clankety, nickels.
You'd be able to go and get a nice dinner using all those nickels.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Or cause someone some physical harm by stuffing those nickels all into a sock and swinging.
The narration here is fairly unnecessary. There were better ways for the background to be told, and especially since the characters talk incessantly as well.
Oh, they sure do. Batman seems to be mostly exposition and or a bunch of talking out loud, how you would, kind of reason through any kind of detective type mystery.
We're so lucky that Batman's nanny sure knew a lot about Gaelic folklore.
Ah, this is a hagstone, you see? Let me explain how it works.
Fair. Not all of us are going to take time out and read Gaelic research notes. We're too busy, in my case, watching anime when we should be looking for the Gaelic research notes. Should I learn the Gaelic notes, or should I learn the mythology of Welcome to Demon School Irma, or the vending machine anime, where guy gets reincarnated as a vending machine in a dungeon?
Anime is wild.
This, though, not particularly wild. None of this had any kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. This just sort of plodded along. Like, I couldn't have hit all the story beats, but none of them were all that impressive.
Batman is barely in the first two issues. The first two issues are 2/3 Wonder Woman and the Fair Folk.
And the biggest chunk of Batman in like that first, third is him dealing with, this problem in the Irish Quarter in Gotham, which news to me. I didn't know Gotham had an Irish Quarter.
Of course it has an Irish Quarter. It's an eastern seaboard city that was developed over many years.
Little Irish town.
All cities have a little Irish section.
But then we never really cut back to that, aside from, the demon, ogre, fairy people who are just passed out in the street at some point in the story.
Yeah, the story is Wonder Woman goes to Bat. It sounds like you have a more understanding of Irish Gaelic folklore, so you can say the name.
Tir na nog. I took a class back in college on the Arthurian matter of Britain, and a lot of the Arthur stuff is drawn from these Celtic myths. So we read the Mabinogion and other bits of the Toyne that all have. I'm familiar with a lot of the pronunciations of various the Dodonen and Ethne and Kerninos and all the Donal and all these various characters that pop up here. Because all of this is fairly straight out of those Celtic myths. The
And
Morrigan.
it's clear that Sharp has a real appreciation for this stuff. I mean, you have to if you're going to do this project. I would have liked some more just front matter or prose or some exploration of that somewhere. Like, give me some thing to hold on to instead of, this kind of plodding story. Like that just hearing you talk about it was more interesting than most of this book. Which, of course, ends in a cliffhanger that I don't think we're ever going to see.
Oh no. End of book 1, book 2 has not happened.
No.
And one would wonder, was book 2 intended to be another Batman Wonder Woman story? Was it intended to Wonder Woman Batman story? Or was it Wonder Woman and someone else? Was it Batman and someone else?
Was it a whole Justice League showing up?
It might have been. I mean, this, as I said, this came out in
18?
2018. So we are probably about a year removed from the end of Sharp's work with Rucka on Wonder Woman, because that would have been mid 2016 through mid 2017. And Sharp has written a lot of stuff that references the Celtic folklore. His current run on Spawn the Dark Ages is rooted in Celtic folklore. So it is a topic that he always goes back to.
It's interesting just the faith that DC editorial puts in this book to not only let it end on a cliffhanger, but then to also let him run with the Brave and the Bold label, because that has a lot of history. And I don't think this is able to live up to either of those two things.
This is probably, of the Sharp art, my favorite of the art tonight.
Oh my God, the detail, the lines, the depth, the imagination, the art
The
is
colors?
fantastic. Yeah.
The colors?
The design on all of the different Fae, both the Dodonen, who are the beautiful, wispy elves, and the Fomor, who are the creatures, the monsters, are fascinating.
The art of the land captures a mystic vibe that's adventurous and looks fun, but it also captures this unending trappedness that gives you a reason for why the Celtic gods want to escape this place. What's the name again?
Ternanog.
Terranog.
I wish Sharp hadn't buried so much of it under narration boxes.
Ugh.
The sequence that gives you the history of the main Fae characters, Alatha and Ethne and Nuada Silverarm and Breas and Baelor Evil Eye, when it's these paintings in Ternanog, the paintings are gorgeous. I would love to see Sharp just do a comic that is a comic adaptation of the Celtic myths. I would love to read that. A fully painted comic about those myths. That'd be great.
And again, his heart is really in this stuff.
Oh, yeah. This is not a bad comic.
No, I might argue it might be comic of the night for me. Because there are strong parts in the second story, but some parts also weigh down.
Yeah, but the parts that are high enough. We'll talk. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
We haven't talked about how this is a murder mystery yet, have we?
No. It's a murder mystery that is almost completely undercut by the narration. Because if you sit back and you start realizing where the narration is coming from, it makes it fairly easy to deduce what's happening before there are any reveal of what's happening. Oh, okay, so the guy's not dead, it's a body swap. You kind of can figure it out pretty quickly, but it's still a mystery for the next 3 issues.
The murdered Celtic god swapped out his body for a local Gotham druid so he could open up the pathways to free the Celtic people that are trapped in Tirnagog with a metal arm.
The silver arm of Nuada, that is a major Celtic.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yep, that, I mean, I'm surprised we didn't see Cthulhu and the Spear of Cthulhu and the Hound of Cthulhu. That's another
Gotta
one.
save stuff for sequels.
Yeah, that's true. Sequels that we will never see.
The book ends with the plan succeeding, Wonder Woman trapped behind the veil of Tirnagog, Dark King causing chaos,
Baylor, the Eye of Baylor.
and Batman dealing with refugees of a magic type.
One of the things here that did actually make me chuckle was Jim Gordon's utter frustration about all of the monsters, the Dark Fae on Gotham streets. Like, can't this have happened in Metropolis? All this paperwork. I think Gotham doesn't have the paperwork for monsters that Metropolis does. They're more used to marauding monsters rather than just people killing a lot of folk. It's very different sets of paperwork.
But it's good that the monsters are susceptible to sleeping gas.
Yeah, Batman tries that out, and it works pretty well.
What do you know? It works.
For some reason, I read this story as the voice of the Batman's voice actor. Like, I wasn't trying to. At first, I was picturing Brave and Bold, then the 90s Batman, but then it came out O's Batman that fit this story the best for some reason.
It doesn't have that Brave and the Boldy sort of vibe. I mean, I think Wonder Woman was the one member of the Justice League who didn't show up in the Batman. I think 'cause there's always weird rights stuff with Wonder Woman's appearances in other media. It's strange.
The last thing that I have to say about this is that this was a very strange choice for Batman costume.
That was the costume at the time. We're doing the Rebirth costume.
In theory, this story is supposed to be continuity.
Well, I mean, it's not though.
It's not because it didn't get finished.
But just for picking a costume from a very specific point in time when, I mean, I don't think he was beholden and had to use that costume. I just thought it was an interesting choice. And it's not a costume I care for.
There are better costumes. Batman needs to wear his undies.
The purple and yellow, I don't like it.
Anything else?
Bad Irish accents!
We would have them, but I mean, this is an Irishman writing it, so the accents would be accurate to what he was doing. And hey, Batman does not sound British here. Something we
we'll get
cannot
there.
say for another story tonight.
We will get there. Oh, that means it's time. But Brave and the Bold, Batman and Wonder Woman, the Princess and the Knight on the big board.
We are at 711 stories on the big board.
God damn.
Number 1 is the post-crisis origin of Batman, Batman Year 1.
Still at a sexy 69, it's Batman Annual number 4 from Volume 3, Every Day.
At 175 is Sanctum, Mike Mignola's Legends of the Dark Knight one-shot. At 350 is May the Best Man Die, Batman and Wildcat boxing for the Joker's amusement.
Coming in real high, not nearly as close to the bottom as it once was. At 420, it's Batman Predator 2, Blood Match.
At 525 is Terror, the Legends of the Dark Knight arc where Hugo Strange and the Scarecrow team up. And all the way at the bottom, it's Three Jokers.
Dog turd of a story. Does this crack 600?
I think it cracks 600.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think, I mean, at this point, 600 is Secrets of the Universe, Shadow of the Bat, Catwoman crossover with that terribly muddy art.
And
You
the art
know,
here, gorgeous.
Yes.
Batman Damned at 580 is not a terrible place to start a comparison.
No, it's not. I still would put this above Damned. Damned has way more story problems. This has writing problems, but the story itself isn't bad. That has weird rapping Etrigan, and there's a lot of stuff going on there that is not problematic, but is nonsensical.
You hear that, people? Batman's Dawn? Nonsensical.
I mean, I can tell you, I would probably not put this above 561, The Giants of Hugo Strange, the Monster Men, the story that has been adapted over and over with Monster Men.
Yeah, that sounds correct.
So we're somewhere then between 561 and 580.
This might be Batman Nosferatu at 572. But because I do recognize the ambition in this, I recognize Sharp having this love and interest in the Celtic myths and wanting to integrate Batman and Wonder Woman into that. And I think that counts for something.
Yeah.
It didn't really work out, but it counts for something. And the art is spectacular.
Leaves of Grass at 566. Jason Woodrue regrows his body out of pot and wants to get Gotham High.
The sillier story than this one.
Oh, it is much sillier.
Right above that, maybe?
Yeah, one more above the DC Super Friends Imps, below the DCU Infinite Holiday Special.
New 565.
Yeah. Our second story of the night is the Catwoman 80th Anniversary 100-page spectacular. This is an anthology, so we will discuss the creators as we discuss the stories, but it is edited by Ben Mears, Jessica Chen, and Ben Abernathy, and has a cover date of August of 2020. Stories of Catwoman from creators from her entire storied history celebrate 80 years of the feline fatale.
You got problematic creators on
Yes.
this.
Problematic creator watch on both Cameron Stewart, who has been accused of various grooming and harassment charges, and Chuck Dixon, the normal right-wing crankness of Chuck Dixon.
Just the lawyer in me. Accusations, not charges.
Accusations, thank you. Accusations of grooming and sex pestery.
I have a question. When did this come out compared to Green Arrow 80th anniversary? The Green Arrow anniversary that came out?
This would have been quite a bit earlier. That has a cover date of August of 2021. So we're still...
Because I was about to say, this is the last time Chuck Dixon worked at DC. No, it's not. I'm pretty sure Chuck Dixon's on that Green Arrow. Probably in that Green Arrow book somewhere.
I believe you are correct.
Connor Hawk was his baby, so
No, he isn't. He does not have a story. This might be the last Chuck Dixon DC. That Green Arrow one has some great stories. I mean, it's mostly memorable for the tribute to Denny O'Neil from his son in the final story.
Batman shows up in a couple of those, so you can cover it one day.
But here we've got 10 shorts here.
I'm going to be honest, I forgot the Liam Sharp one was only 4 pages.
Yeah, it's the shortest of the lot.
Which, makes sense, considering he's the one person who hasn't done anything for Catwoman, really.
Yeah, that was a bit befuddling to me. I don't know how he wound up in here when everyone else has at least written multiple Catwoman stories or a Batman run.
Or will have Catwoman.
Or will, as this is, yes, the setup. Or has written considerable Catwoman content in some other title.
Like, for example, way down in the fifth from the bottom, Anna Senti has a story in here after writing her well-known Catwoman run.
But Nocenti had a Catwoman run. Mindy Newell wrote the original Catwoman miniseries. Dixon had a Catwoman run. Will Pfeiffer, Brubaker, Rom V, all of them had runs on Catwoman. Jeff Parker wrote a bunch of 66 Catwoman stories. Tom King, all of the Batcat that he was involved in. And Dini wrote a bunch of Catwoman episodes of BTAS. So all of them.
He did Gotham City Sirens.
And Gotham City Sirens.
And Heart of Hush.
But then you have Liam Sharp, who I guess maybe is just a big Catwoman fan and got to write a short, little, amusing, little 4-page story that's just kind of there.
Could it have been as simple as they needed 4 pages?
That is quite possible. Somebody's story was a little short, and they needed to get someone to do it. And
I think it was more like Ed Brubaker and Mindy turned in a little longer strips. Someone needed to be cut down.
That's possible, too.
This book's weirdly comedic for an anniversary issue. There's a run from Now You See Me to the Liam Sharp story that you could argue those are all comedy stories.
I think that is the only time anyone has ever called anything by Tom King comedic.
He tries to be funny. It's just not the best at it.
I mean, even the Dini story has a comedy beats, or, the darkly comic.
Let's just run it down story by story.
So, I mean, you start out with Skin the Cat from Paul Dini and Emanuela Lupacchino. If you had gotten an artist who would have leaned into the animated seriesness of it, this is very much the Catwoman of Batman the Animated Series, less so the Catwoman of DC Comics. Because this is the Catwoman who sponsored a big cat sanctuary. Not to say that Selina of the comics wouldn't, but that was a thing that Selina of the animated series absolutely did. And it's Dini writing she's run afoul of a guy, a very Paul Dini second-rate supervillain, the taxidermist.
He's a hitman who uses his funds to turn cats into taxidermy dolls. Wild creatures. In this case, cats.
The final beat is absolutely in line with Catwoman, but not quite in line with the animated series.
Yes. It's nothing they could have gotten away with due to standards and practices of, feeding a guy to a bunch of big cats. He deserved it.
Oh, he absolutely deserved it. He had it coming.
He was going to stuff Catwoman, which is decidedly creepy.
But Catwoman outsmarted him, turned off the paralyzing gas, and set loose 3 cats on him. The end. Happy story.
Now You See Me from Anna Nocenti and Robson Rocha is more palatable than a lot of Nocenti's Catwoman was. It's much less plodding and weird.
What was that one?
That's the guard who sees Selina leaving something in a pigeon coop.
Oh yeah, the random penguin at the end.
Yeah,
and Donut Cop.
She was leaving whatever she stole for Penguin to pick up. But this guy saw it, tries to blackmail Catwoman, and it ends about as well as you'd expect that to happen.
I think that was my least favorite story.
No, it's definitely one of the weakest.
Probably, yeah. It's also, Selina is drawn in the Returns costume, which makes Penguin showing up there even more of a head scratcher, or a costume that is more akin to the Returns costume than anything else.
Yeah, no, League of Comic Book Geeks, the best website for information, has this taking place in that universe.
But yeah, it is probably the least in here.
That does make sense.
Yeah. Next is Helena, which is Tom King and Mikkel Janine. See, I liked this. I thought this was a little. I mean, listen, there's Tom King bullshittery in here,
Oh, there is.
but
Yep.
it has a clear emotional through line that is not about trauma,
Yeah.
which is something we don't get from Tom King. And I think the idea of someone like Selena Kyle, who is so independent, having to wrestle with motherhood is a really logical step for that character to take. If you're going to have Catwoman have a baby, it shouldn't just be, oh, I'm pregnant. Isn't that wonderful? Because there are people who do not live the weirdly active and dangerous life that Catwoman does, who still wrestle with that. And here she is absolutely struggling with it. And I'm not a mother, I'm a thief. And the moment where Bruce has to talk her down, that she's worried about not being a mother, and him saying that, she won't be a bad mother, she won't hate the baby, she's not running. She's made the choice, and she admits it's time.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Last month you read Batman 1027. Is this better than the future Batman story in that one by Tom King?
I think I like it more.
What was the last Tom King story?
That was Doc Phosphorus and Bruce and Phosphorus talking about Bruce's death and revealing how Bruce dies in the Tom King future.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. This is stronger than that. I also just like the callback to what is it? Earth 2?
Yes.
I like acknowledging like the full history of Catwoman in a project like this. So I like the nods to 66 and Returns, even if that costume didn't make sense. So let's do a little of that Earth 2 stuff too.
And it's a schmaltzy ending, but I like that moment where Selena, you're like him, you're not like me, except in one respect. When you want something, you'll take it, you'll steal it. And I never stole anything. Oh, my dear, you stole my heart.
Good schmaltzy ending that helps to give a feel other than weirdly comedic, which I see in the bits with the Batman and Catwoman taking down the villains. A couple stuff like
The bat bucket. Well, it's just a bucket, but it's got a bat on it. King is trying to be funny, but I don't think it is a full-on comedy.
I said you could argue it.
Yes. Then we do have The Catwoman of Earth from Jeff Parker and Jonathan Case, which is a 66 story. I mean, that's the creative team from a lot of the better 66 comics. This is probably not one of the better 66 stories. It's aliens and such. It's a stretch on what you get from 66.
It could be aiming more for a Silver Age tone in general.
It could, but with Professor Overbeck, who is a 66 character, and using the 66 design, it is very much intended to be set in that world. And I kind of tend to scratch my head when we stretch so far beyond what 66 could do. Not bad, but not great either.
Ending with Catwoman saying, screw it. I don't like the fact that you're giving me the cash. She goes on spaceship with Lady Alien and goes to Louvre to steal. That's a good ending.
Yes, good ending. Then there's A Cat of Nine Tails. This is the Liam Sharp, very short, with Selena telling a guard who's got a gun on her all the ways that this could end, and then he passes out because he's too stressed.
It's cute. I liked it.
It's cute. It's a perfectly cute little 4-page story, but it's not going to be the most memorable in the book.
Yep.
Looks good though.
And a cute concept.
Yes. Then is Little Bird from Mindy Newell and Lee Garbett.
We forgot about talking about the hang in there kitty little 1-page thing that happened between Catwoman and Earth and
we got some nice pinups in the book, some nice retrospective, not period art, but reproductions of period art.
It's a costume show, and God,
Yeah.
I wish people would go into a character, pull up all their costumes, and just talk about the history and fashion show it up.
Especially for someone like Catwoman, as there have been such wild and varied costumes over the years.
Yeah, I just wanted to shout out that Hang Kitty thing because it elevates the thing
It's
by
pretty
at least a half a point.
But yeah, Little Bird from Mindy Newell and Lee Garbett. This
This
one,
is the other weak story in the book.
it is. This one gets me a little for the Jewishness of it, but that's a personal thing. It's not terribly well laid out. Not the art, but the story itself. There's bits that aren't clear.
It feels like it takes place right as Mindy Nguyen wrote her Catwoman story.
Yeah, it's definitely year one era. And I like a story where Selena, has a heart for the people around her, something that, I like, but it is in itself not terribly, yes, you're probably right. It's probably the second weakest of the book, quickly followed by probably the third weakest of the book, Born to Kiln from Chuck Dixon and Kelly Jones, which is just a very paint by numbers Catwoman story of this
from
era.
Of the 90s. All it's missing is the artist of the Catwoman stuff from the 90s.
Yeah.
Jim Fallon.
If they could have gotten Jim Fallon to do this, this could have just literally been dropped out of any of those, the Joe Duffy, Chuck Dixon, Doug Mensch era of Catwoman. She's stealing something. Clayface is also trying to steal it. She defeats Clayface and makes off with the gem. Great. Boom. Very, very simple.
Catwoman dunks on Clayface for killing witnesses, even though, by the way he killed them, it's gonna come back to him.
Yeah. Next is Conventional Wisdom from Will Pfeiffer and Pia Guerrara. This is a wacky little meta story. I love Pia Guerrara. It was nice to see her art on this. Will Pfeiffer did what I feel like is a fairly underrated run on Catwoman, but following Ed Brubaker, it wasn't. That's a hard ass act to follow. This is Selena at BatCon, which turns out to be a dream, but it's a lot of meta jokes, a lot of inside baseball Comic-Con jokes.
Catwoman wonders, how could someone get in that outfit, do movement in that outfit, when she sees I believe a 66 Catwoman show up?
Yep, and returns as well. She makes observations about both of those, the Julie Newmar costume and the Returns costume, about how those are very impractical costumes.
But it was very cute.
Yeah.
Very cute.
Oh, it was cute. I thought it was a lot of fun.
It's a Dr. Destiny story where he's trying to interrogate Selena with his dream powers.
I've got to say, credit where credit is due. This book ends on probably the two strongest stories in the book.
Oh, you mean Ed Brubaker knows how to write comics?
Ed Brubaker and Rom V, Shock of Shocks.
Huh. That's weird. That is weird, Matt.
That we start with Addicted to Trouble from Rom V and Fernando Blanco. This is the setup for Rom V's run on Catwoman. We're bridging the gap in between the end of Joelle Jones's run and Rom V's run, getting Selena back to Gotham. It's a short little character piece with her and her sister Maggie on a road trip, and just seeing Selena go from place to place and think about where she is in her life right now. A nice little touch with her abandoning the wedding dress, her seemingly moving on from that period in her life. Blanco was the artist on the Rom V run as well. So this is the creative team of that run doing a little capsule of what you're going to get from one of the best runs on Catwoman in recent memory.
This story was an ad for Catwoman.
But a really good ad.
And we saw that last time in the Batman book too. Had what was it, the detective story in there?
Yeah, the Mariko Tamaki that would lead into her run on Detective shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
So you can see how editorial, puts these books together. Like we get a bunch of the old guys, we get them to come in, do a little thing, and then we get a tease for, something ongoing. It's smart business.
Yeah, no. That's what DC did with their celebrated anniversary anthologies that came out during this 1.5 year period.
And finally is The Art of Picking a Lock from Ed Brubaker and Cameron Stewart. This is a perfect balance of action and character. This is Selina trying to find Slam Bradley, who made the foolish decision of thinking he could try to stop the Joker and is in the back of a cab that's about to be dumped into the bay.
At least somebody tried, man.
Okay. Yeah, but, maybe if Slam didn't have a whole, jealous about Batman thing, he probably just could have called Batman and let him take care of it. But it's Selina and Slam and Holly, the core cast of the Brubaker run, narration about Selina learning to pick a lock and how that is reflected in what's going on now. And it's just fucking A. This might be Ed Brubaker's last story for DC too. I don't think he's done anything since. And he just came back to do this because he hasn't done pretty much anything in mainstream, or the big two. I mean, Image is mainstream. But he hasn't done anything in the big two much since he left for Image and the stuff that he does there.
You never know with Marie Jevis. She can get almost anyone back.
We'll see how the Criminal TV series goes whenever it comes out, and then we'll see.
Yeah. Sometimes you need money.
I'm not made of stone. I think this, on the whole, is more good stories than bad. And the ones that are really good are really good. And I think we can probably wrap this up because there's a lot to say about our last story.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, that means it's time for Catwoman 80th Anniversary 100-page spectacular on the big board. Well, Detective Comics 1027 is at 150.
There was nothing as weak as the weakest stories here in there. Again, if we're averaging things out, the average there is higher.
I would argue that you're more likely to remember Picking a Lock or Addicted to Trouble more than a lot of stories in that 1027.
That's fair.
What's the most memorable story in 1027?
Rucka and Rizzo, the rookie.
Yep, and compared to those two stories in here.
We're probably in the range there. What do you feel? Well, would you put this above that?
I don't know if I'd put it above that, but I would definitely put it above 200. I mean, I think in terms of overall quality, like we came back to it so many times because I think they're fairly comparable. Dini is on his best behavior. We get the great Brubaker story. Sharp is the reason for this episode, and even that was a really cute 4-page piece. Pfeiffer's story was great. The bottom parts here are just soft. Like they're not wretchedly soft. They're just soft.
This also has the Hang in There Kitty poster.
It's got good pinups. I will say that. I would say this would definitely go above 166 Batman TMNT Volume 1.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's going to be near 1027. How does the new 157 sound?
I like that.
Below Gordon of Gotham, above 66 Volume 4.
I think that is a very strong showing for a very solid anthology.
You get Ed Brubaker and Ram V to write stories in your anthology, you're gonna go far. What's not gonna go far is our final story of the night.
This is a story you could only get by requesting it on the Patreon.
Yeah.
How much money a month can you get it for?
$10 a month, or $25, and you can come on and talk about it.
And what's your bonus episodes for this month?
For this month is an animated trio of animated series episodes of different animated series featuring the Joker that will be dropping tomorrow as we record. And next month, because it looks like it's happening and is coming out, is going to be the animated adaptation of Hush.
It's not gonna happen. It's still not gonna happen.
We'll see, but it looks like it's happening. So we will be covering the animated adaptation of Hush to tie in with the end of Hush 2. But this story is Reptilian. This is Batman Reptilian numbers 1 to 6. The writer is Garth Ennis, with art and colors by Liam Sharp, letters by Rob Steen, and edited by Ben Mears and Jessica Chen. The cover dates are August of 2021 to January of 2022. Something is massacring its way through the Gotham underworld. It is leaving a trail of dismembered rogues and henchmen. Batman must determine what this thing is and why it's doing it before more fall to its insatiable bloodlust.
Do you want to start with the content warnings?
I don't even know what a content warning would be for this thing.
I would say discussions of sexual violence. Because we ought to talk about that first part.
Yeah, the opening. That's fair. Because there are stuff that I want to discuss about problematic content, and there's a lot to talk about when you talk about Garth Ennis. Garth Ennis, as a writer, strikes me as someone who truly believes he is working in the same mold as something like Stone and Parker on South Park. If you're offensive to everyone, you're not actively at a place where anyone can call you out on it because you're offending everything and everyone. But there are a couple of points to bring up at the beginning. One, this was originally proposed as a Legends of the Dark Knight arc with art by Steve Dillon. Having read that after reading the story, I have a hard time picturing Dillon drawing this. But then I think about some of the weirdness in Hitman, and Preacher, and I'm like, okay. But I more would picture John McCrea, who is Ennis's artist on Hitman, doing this book.
Did you read it in singles or in a trade?
Trade.
Did you? I assume you saw the note from Sharp, right? Yeah, that was a touching and both funny note. Sharp opens the trade with an explanation that Dylan was supposed to do this, and Sharp says he imagined like Dylan looking over his shoulder at points and criticizing the work. So charming and sad.
Now, let's be fair and upfront about one thing. Garth Ennis hates superheroes. Garth Ennis has never made it at all vague that Garth Ennis hates superheroes. With the exception of one issue of Hitman that is a beautiful Superman story, Garth Ennis has never written a comic with a superhero where he was not attempting to take the piss out of a superhero. And Ennis's Batman in this is Judge Dredd. He is writing Batman as if Batman is Dredd.
And in his lighter moments, Constantine.
I looked it up because I remembered we reviewed the first 2 issues of this for the column. And I went back because I remembered something, and I found the quote that from a CBR interview that I put in that column. Quote, "What we're talking about here is a billionaire aristocrat who beats up poor people as well as the mentally ill. I don't know what that has to do with a code of honor, but it certainly appeals to my sense of humor, which was probably my way into writing the character and the reason I enjoyed writing him more than I otherwise might have."
That's also in the letter that's included in the last issue in singles.
This is someone who does not like or believe in the concept of Batman and is writing a Batman story.
Did you have fun with the voice there, Matt?
A little bit. My Irish accent does always had a bit more Scottish than it probably should, but I try. Nonetheless, Ennis holds Batman as a character in unutterable contempt in this story. In anything he's written, the character, he's a joke. And so it's all right here that Batman is a violent psychopath in this story.
Lots of snide remarks, zero compassion, empathy, zero warmth.
A lot of 66 jokes, references, which do not fit.
No. And the point in here where Alfred is trying to get Batman to, attend a benefit, and Bruce is like, oh, you deal with it. I've got to go out in the daylight to try to do Batman stuff, which is a strange choice. But again, Ennis is writing a 66-y Batman because Batman just is able to walk up onto the steps of City Hall and convince a heavyweight fighter who...
Okay, we need to break this down, because I have a whole paragraph about that fucking opening scene.
Go for it. I bow to you in your paragraph, sir.
It's a weird choice to start off your thing with a sexual assault when there are no women in this story at all.
We see a scalped Poison Ivy.
That doesn't count! She doesn't have any lines!
You're very true. Believe me, no, I'm not arguing your point. I'm being very facetious in that statement. Yes, the complete lack of female characters in this story is not a great look.
Well, there might be one.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yes. Though there's stuff to discuss when it comes to that.
And Batman just fucking cripples a man just in front of court.
On camera.
Yeah. It is a terrible opening 6 pages that, spoilers, has jack all to do with the rest of the story.
Other than setting the tone for what Ennis thinks Batman is. And it doesn't matter to the overall plot, as you said, because it's there to set a tone, but Batman has no arc in this story. No one has an arc in this story. Everyone is a completely static character. Batman is a bleak fascist nightmare in the opening, and he remains a bleak fascist nightmare at the end. He is Judge Dredd. This is a Black Label book, so there are exceptions that can be made, but that doesn't mean you can just write Batman as British.
Or as this cruel. I think a different Batman would be puzzled by the biological changes that Croc is undergoing here. He would be curious, and he would have some empathy. Like, he wouldn't constantly make jokes about this. He would say, like, Croc, at the end of this, you're going to have to pay for what you've done. But let's figure this out. Let's help the city, and let's help you to not, do whatever this is again.
And you might have heard Whale just reference Killer Croc. Yeah, this is a Killer Croc story. You might notice that by title Reptilian, but the story for some reason doesn't have Croc in the first 2 issues.
When there is a Russian mobster who in the end savagely beats Batman, and you look at what he's saying, and it's like, he's not entirely wrong. You've lost the thread on the character.
Batman uses that man as just like, this is my bait. You better do this, or I'm gonna make you feel it.
Right. It's like, I don't kill.
And then the man dies, and Batman feels nothing.
Yeah. The fact that the entire Rogues Gallery is crippled at best by the end of this, and Batman feels nothing, is a problem. It's not a Batman story.
It's a Batman who laughs and or vampire Batman story.
Yeah.
Art's good.
Yes.
Kinda. It's very painterly. It captures the mood that it's trying to do somewhat.
Ennis doesn't understand how lizard biology works, like, at all.
Well, Matt, they're not lizards. They're aliens. Killer Croc's an alien.
Yeah, so the reveal here is that Croc is some kind of half alien. And so when we get into the stuff here where Croc has given birth to a monstrous thing, and his gender is now he's possibly hermaphroditic, he's possibly this, he's possibly that. I am trying to figure out if this is in any way transphobic or is just Ennis being Ennis and playing around with science fiction tropes.
You know, there weren't any pronoun jokes, right? Batman made a couple of references to something, but I can't remember exactly what it was. But it didn't seem to be at least two references to being, a hermaphrodite.
I just sent you the one thing that people need to see in this comic, and that is Liam Sharp's painted Joker.
Yeah, that is a wild panel.
It's Liam Sharp, Joker. I sent you the Gotham Rogues, all looking normal. Some kind of Grim Reaper's there, but I
Phantasm. It looks like Phantasm.
That's a choice for a story that's missing quite a few Gotham Rogues, like Bane or Raish. It's Phantasm, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Liam Sharp's Joker
is
just there with extra long fingers holding one up and a purple jacket with an orange shirt underneath with a smile across his face and this weird ass face. You don't have to read this story. You do have to see the Joker in this story. You better have that Joker when this thing gets posted, because no one should read this. Everyone should see the Joker.
Getting back to Ennis, I don't sense any malice here. I don't sense anything particularly clever, though. I think if he had written this story about 5 or 10 years earlier, it would have been more, let's make fun, let's maybe do some trans jokes, let's see what we can get away with. But at least in this, I didn't sense that.
Oh yeah, Killer Croc has a baby. That's what we're talking about.
Fox News didn't jump on this one, though. Not like Pregnant Joker.
And we have finally put together an episode for those. I'm so excited.
I'm going to be honest. I almost had this story in a bunch of episodes I called Who's the Daddy? A story about Gotham rogues having kids.
There are many of them. Ugh. Batman asking if Croc is lactating. It's like, lizards don't lactate. That's mammals.
Well, he's half man.
But the lizard thing is a full lizard thing. It shouldn't, like, these aliens are clearly reptilian aliens. They wouldn't lactate. It's just, you're just making a joke. You're just trying to make a lactating Killer Croc joke. Like, that doesn't work when he's a lizard.
Matt, if we can have a platypus, we can have a lactating Killer Croc.
Platypuses are weird. Platypi.
Oh, you get self-loathing Croc. Yeah, Croc has a baby, and because he had a baby, the scent of him getting pregnant got over all the Gotham Rogues when they had a meeting together.
And so the lizard is looking for its mom, and when they turn out to not be its mom, it just tears them apart. It is some severely gory comics.
I guess this is what happened, but the story didn't make it that clear. Like, did Croc lay an egg and then just wander away?
It seems like it wasn't so much an egg as some kind of, or it was like an external egg sac, like it grew something. It's not clear, and I don't think Ennis cared enough to make it clear.
And the question that I had there is, if it was something like a live birth, the creature wouldn't have to wonder where its mom was. It was right there.
Croc runs away very fast from his children. He's a deadbeat dad, don't you know?
In the end, we also get these moments where Batman is deciding to sacrifice himself for a bunch of bird watchers who happen to be in the area. So Ennis is still sticking in some respects to Batman as we know him. but also is writing a Batman that we would never see in any other story.
He somewhat cares when the Joker gets sprung up by the Killer Croc offspring. Story ends with Batman blowing up the Killer Croc baby, and Killer Croc gets sent to the Air Force, where military, so they can do science on him. You know, fun. Killer Croc's gonna deal with government tortures now. I guess Batman has no more rogues.
It's a much easier Gotham for a little while, at least. And Alfred, throughout this, seems to be Ennis's voice of pointing out all of the things about Batman that are wrong. So let me just put all the words about how all of this is completely fucked in Alfred's mouth, including a line that feels like is a number of years out of date, where Alfred makes a comment about Bruce beating on the underprivileged, Bruce saying that he supports projects to keep people from doing these things. I believe those were there to keep the poor from occupying things. 2022, Occupy, that's clearly none of the references were updated from when this was pitched, when Steve Dillon might have been drawing it.
It sat in the shelf for years.
Yeah, it did.
As it should have.
Yeah. It's not good.
Bad story.
Yeah. But Batman does spend time talking about great white sharks, so it does least somewhat qualify.
This story had a shark watch.
Yep, it does qualify.
There's a panel of a shark somewhere in there. I'm not going to pull it up because fuck this comic. Only thing people need to see is that Joker.
This concludes Shark Watch.
I think this concludes this story, because we can continue to tear it to shreds, but it's just not good.
No.
It's just poorly written.
Poorly conceived? Like, what was the point of the story? What thing did we learn? What thing did we think about? What were we challenged with as readers?
Nothing.
We were challenged. Well, we learned Killer Croc's an alien.
Well, nobody's ever going to pick up on that or use it or explore it again, because it's really, really, really fucking stupid.
Black Label for a reason.
They challenged us with Joker's outfit choices.
And on that note, it's time for Batman Reptilian on the big board.
So this one sure is
ceiling,
shooting.
Boss. I give you a ceiling.
Okay.
641, America versus the Justice Society. That book is charming.
Yeah, hell no. This is nowhere near that.
Okay.
I was going to throw out Robin and Batman. Another book with great art.
That
terrible writing.
Does more damage to the character. So this, in my opinion, would beat Robin and Batman. But that is also a more competently done comic.
Yeah.
It's also somewhat shorter, I think.
It's probably, if that's 3 prestiges, this is 6 regulars. It's probably a push.
I'm just saying, is this better or worse than Robin and Batman? Matt? Would you rather read Robin and Batman or this story again?
Oh. That's...
Robin and Batman made me mad.
This story made me
physically
mad.
This just kind of bored me.
You weren't angry at Killer Croc? You weren't angry at that first opening?
There is something that I accept, that's like, when you're going to have Garth Ennis do a superhero story, this is what you get. There's expectations. I don't expect Jeff Lemire to write a story where Batman is an abusive father. I expect Garth Ennis to show utter contempt for superheroes. But I think we might put it right above Robin and Batman. It might be right there.
Okay. New 679?
What's above Robin and Batman?
The Fishy Laugh. The weird-ass Steve Englehart, Trevor Von Eden, Legends of the DCU with the Joker and Aquaman, which is dumb as hell, but is not as mean as either this or Robin and Batman. So I think...
It's also shorter.
Yeah, oh, considerably shorter. 2 regular-sized issues? Yeah. That's it. We got a nice spread tonight. We got one up high, one lower middle, and one at the bottom. Decent spread throughout.
Don't worry about that next time, because, well, spoilers for next time. I gave Matt an idea. He sent me some comics, and then I said, "What about these comics?" And then Matt said, "Oh no, these are so much worse than my comics."
Yep. I continue to suffer for what Will has done. But that does it for tonight. Next week, Sam Hopper is back with us to talk about the pre-Flashpoint stories involving the death of the first Black Mask and the rise of the second. Remember, you can support the podcast on Patreon at patreon.com/batchatwithmattandwill, where you can get shoutouts, bonus content, pick a story, and even come on the show. We'd like to thank those Patreon backers: Dan Grote, Josh Wheel, Mrs. Abigail Hartbaum, Asma Fangirl, Tony Thornley,
Go Aggies!
Sam Hopper,
Go to bed, Sam. It is so late.
John Wickham,
Hey, beautiful Bubby, you.
Tim Rooney, Giorgio Sergioli, David Wheel,
World's greatest gray belt,
Alexander Wheel, Matt McThorne,
McThorny.
Dan Offer,
Danny boy, the pipes are calling.
Nate Randell, Daniel Mosley, Ross Holmes,
Mr. Random Ass.
Will Crisp,
Me compadre, looking forward to running with you this weekend.
Carlos Cordova, Jordan Jennings, Charlie Etheridge Nunn, Sean Shambly, The Final Wraith,
The scariest wraith.
Kyle Still,
Still the one.
and Carolyn Smith for their support.
Sweet Caroline. Ba, ba, ba.
This show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music /Audible, YouTube Music, Podbean, and on comicsxf.com, where new episodes drop every Thursday. You can find me on Blue Sky, where I talk about comics and other random things, and Letterboxd, where I review all the movies I watch, both at MattLaz1013.
Oh, and I am struggling to figure out how to use the new place. I need to be on that more. But I'm there and still on Twitter at Will Nevin. Goodreads at Will Nevin, where I'm still trudging through. Well, not trudging. That's a bad way to put it. I'm reading The Stand. Also picked up Fight Club this week, and I'm like 30, 40 pages in. It is a very thin book and not so far very different from the film. Interesting. But anyway, I'm going to try to finish Fight Club so I can have a whole book report for next week. But until then, I'm going to get something to drink and then I'm going to go to bed. Good night, Huntsville.
And be sure to visit ComicsXF at comicsxf.com or ComicsXF on Blue Sky for our weekly Friday Bat Chat roundup of new Bat books. For my other show, the ComicsXF Interview Podcast, where my longtime best friend Dan Grote and I interview comics creators, retailers, publishers, journalists, and other related tradespeople, as well as all the other stuff Will and I are writing. And stay safe out there, folks. Gotham is not a place to be after dark.